I know this is the toughest division of football right now. I've got tremendous amount of respect for the coaches and the players in this league. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Do you have beef with Coach Johnson?
I was waiting for this. I don't know Ben Johnson.
It's a good team, man. They're playing good football right now. They've really come on, especially these last 3 games. This defense, I think I said it yesterday, it might be the best defense we've seen all year. So all hands on deck.
I mean, I know it's hatred. They're getting talked about all the time. Anyone you talk to, it's always beat the Packers.
You love rivalries. I've been in some cool, fun rivalries throughout my career. They're always fun. They always come down to, it's an emotional game. It always comes down to, the final minutes.
Personally, I'm not trying to make it anything more than what it is. It is the most important game of the season, but it's only because the next game, and honestly, I manifested this is not going to be our biggest game of the year, regardless. Just preparing for a tough, another heavyweight match. I feel like it's been like that the past few weeks.
I would say the confidence is a lot higher in the locker room, in the building, and just what we can do when we put it on tape. I think for us going to this game, we have more belief than I would say what we've had previously before. I would say we definitely feel a lot better, but again, this is a different team, a different season, and we're going into it, I would say all guns blazing, ready to prepare.
From Fox 32 Chicago Sports, this is Chicago Sports Tonight.
Welcome into a Wednesday night edition of Chicago Sports Tonight. Luke and Ellis with you. I'm excited to bring in my good buddy David Haugh in studio with us. David does great work on the morning show, on The Score, also on CHSN, the Big Pro Football Show. You're a busy man. Thanks so much for taking the time to join me because I wanted to get into a little back and forth. You and I did this a few months ago outside of radio and TV, and it was so easy for an hour, so I want to get into it again. And let's talk about the Bears. It's the biggest question. I can't walk anywhere. I can't get on an elevator. And people notice me, and they say, hey, what are the Bears' chances? They want to know, are they going to win at Lambeau Field against the Packers?
Well, what Friday did against the Eagles in Philadelphia was validate 3 months' worth of questions, and they legitimized this season for the Bears. And I think when you consider that, at Lambeau Field Sunday, it's another step in the right direction, potentially. So you've got Bears-Packers, and Lou, it's been since 2001 that both teams have been this good this late. And that was the last time I think both teams had records 5 games or more above 500 when they met. So this is something different than we're used to seeing. Usually Bears-Packers were manufacturing a rivalry that really isn't a rivalry in any sense of the word. But the Packers have Micah Parsons and Jordan Love's playing like an MVP. The Bears have Ben Johnson, a defense and a running game that ran right over the Eagles. So this is a great matchup, finally.
2001, big game, as you mentioned. I'll never forget the 2013 game. I think it was December 29th.
Yeah.
Both teams playing for the NFC North Championship. And Aaron Rodgers throws that dagger. I still have scars. I still have scars when he hit Randall Cobb on 4th and 8.
Imagine how Chris Conte feels.
Oh, my gosh. I just can't get over this guy. Thank God he's not quarterback because I'm not a big Jordan Love fan. $220 million, I don't think the guy's played like he's worth it. I wouldn't have given the guy the money. It was coming off 1/2 of a season in which he played well. I get it. He's played much better this year. He's protected the football. I don't put him in the top half of quarterbacks in the NFL.
But I think, Lou, you're talking about 2024 Jordan Love. I'm with you because I came into the season with doubts. When I was ranking quarterbacks preseason, I think potential, when I was looking at that, I had Caleb Williams ahead of Jordan Love. But right now, when you have 19 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, I think you've earned some respect. So I think he deserves it going into Sunday. That doesn't mean that Dennis Allen can't rattle him. I don't know what Dennis Allen is going to do because I think that's exactly what he wants you to think. Is what is he going to do? Against Mason Rudolph, they sit back and let everything happen in front of the secondary. Against Jalen Hurts, seasoned veteran, winner, they came after him 1 out of every 2 passing downs in the first half. What will they do to rattle Jordan Love, who will throw you the football, the guy we remember, but the guy he's been lately is the one making all the plays.
Yeah, he's had a couple of bad games this year. That's why I just don't like the inconsistency that I see from Jordan Love, and that's why I have a problem with him being one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. Before we get to Dennis Allen, because I do want to talk about how the Bears defense will play against not only Jordan Love, but Josh Jacobs as well, who had a big game in their last contest as well. I want to hear from some of the players and how confident are they about going to Lambeau Field to play the Packers?
Yes. I would say the confidence is a lot higher in the locker room, in the building, and just what we can do. When you put it on tape, it gives you more confidence. So I think for us going to this game, we have more belief than I would say what we've had previously before, because we've put in the work and we've seen the results come from it, and naturally you gain confidence from that. So I would say we definitely feel a lot better. But again, this is a different team, a different season, and we're going into it, I would say, all guns blazing, ready and prepared.
It's a good team, man. They're playing good football right now. They've really come on, especially these last 3 games. Offense is playing at a high level. Quarterback is very accurate. And so we got a challenge on that side. And then this defense, I think I said it yesterday, it might be the best defense we've seen all year. So all hands on deck.
I know it's hatred. They're getting talked about all the time. Anyone you talk to, it's always beat the Packers, you know. So I understand the rivalry, and I know how important it is to my team, coaches, staff, owners. So yeah, we just got to prepare, give everything we got this week to prepare, go out there and let it loose on Sunday.
Can we get into the defense? I do want to follow up on what you said about Dennis Allen, because plenty of concern out there about the Bears at the linebacker position without T.J. Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, and also Noah Sewell. Hopefully the Bears get T.J. Edwards back this week. But it's funny, I asked someone who played the game on a professional level, and he told me, I get it, the Bears don't have linebackers out there, but they're defensive backs. And the depth that they have at that position actually works even better for them defensively, because it allows them to play more nickel, more dime, send guys from the secondary, a Kyler Gordon, a Jaquan Brisker like we saw against the Steelers, send them on the blitz. It gives Allen more flexibility.
If you're going to be thin on a layer of defense, I think you want it to be the linebacker position. That said, DeMarco Jackson and Amen Agbagbamiga.
Nice work.
All right. He is playing at a high level, so you really don't feel like you're in a rush to replace those guys. You want Tremaine Edmonds back when he's healthy, but he's on injured reserve. You want T.J. Edwards back, but only when he's healthy, or else he's a liability. What you also want is Kyler Gordon and C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the game at the same time. When you have 2 nickel backs, you don't know which one is blitzing. When you have 2 guys with similar skill sets, it's a fit for an offensive coordinator to figure out. You also get Jaylon Johnson back. I love the fact that he returned this year. I was surprised he came back. He had surgery earlier this fall. So how does that happen?
You know how that happens? Winning. Winning is contagious. And when a guy like Jaylon Johnson, who has such great passion, and we saw what happened between Jaylon Johnson and Matt Eberflus last year after that Detroit loss, that meltdown in Motown. This guy wanted to be on the football field. He wanted to be part of those Ben Johnson celebrations inside the locker room, so that's why he was back.
You feel like you're missing out on something. He had a huge case of FOMO. That was much more severe than anything about his groin injury. So he is back, and when he is healthy, he's an impact player. He's their best defensive player when he's healthy.
What are you hearing about Tyreek Stevenson?
I think that they want him to be back. They don't need to rush him. Nashawn Wright could be opposite Jaylon Johnson. You'd like to have all 3 of them healthy, ideally, but it is trending in the right direction. And look, we haven't even mentioned the safeties, because Jaquan Brisker has played at a pretty high level, and Kevin Byard has been the best free safety in the NFL.
All-Pro. Kevin Byard's been an All-Pro. By the way, I saw the updated Pro Bowl voting yesterday. So good to see Nashawn Wright considered right now, at least he's number 2 in the Pro Bowl voting at the cornerback position. Did you find it interesting listening to Ben Johnson yesterday? Because I went back into the archives and I pulled up his little comment about Matt LaFleur at his introductory press conference, and then LaFleur saying, hey, I don't even know the guy. I don't know why he took a shot at me like that. And he's trying to brush it off, but he's biting his tongue. You can tell that he is saying something inside that Packers locker room to his players about the way, the disrespect that BJ, I'm going to call him BJ, Ben Johnson, showed towards him during his introductory press conference. I found it a little strange, and I was a bit surprised that he was so complimentary about that Packers defense.
I think he has almost gone out of his way to be more respectful this week of a defense in Green Bay that deserves that. I think they have earned that. It is the best defense the Bears will play against this season. For Micah Parsons, I think Rashawn Gary, all the reasons why Jeff Hafley has this group playing at a high level. But I do agree with you, Lou. It was downright Belichickian, the way that he talked about every detail and every player's tendencies. This is the way Bill Belichick used to talk about the Bears' special teams. And we're like, wow, he knows the roster. And yesterday you came away feeling like, wow, Ben Johnson knows these Packers.
Can I shift gears? Because
Yep,
I'm
let's do
really
that.
honored that you came into the studio. And I want to talk a little about, I was listening this morning to the show. Great job by you and Ruthie Polinsky. And you guys got into the Giannis conversation. Giannis Antetokounmpo scrubbing his social media of anything that has to do with the Milwaukee Bucks. And yes, Giannis had asked at the beginning of the season to be traded, and now people are wondering, does he want to be traded now? What are your thoughts?
Well, two things. Number one, this afternoon, it was confirmed by ESPN. They're having talks, Giannis's representatives and the Bucks, about finding a resolution to this, whether it's in Milwaukee or moving on, which seems more likely because of the scrubbing of the Instagram, the way that professional athletes communicate their feelings these days. And yesterday, or earlier this week, Jamal Collier at ESPN opened the door in a deep dive on the Bulls this season. It's been a disappointing season after a 5-0 start by reporting that they had had internal discussions about Anthony Davis. So if you are willing to open the door to that possibility and trade for Anthony Davis, whose injury concerns are more acute and pronounced than Giannis's, I think that you have to be open to anything and everything.
I can tell you that Giannis and his representatives reached out to the Bulls about a potential deal, and the Bulls said they weren't interested. They were not interested in breaking up their young core or changing their course of direction that they have laid out with AK and Mark Eversley right now. Maybe things have changed.
I'm going to need a minute to process that.
Maybe
Lou.
things have changed with the latest report from ESPN about the Bulls maybe kicking the tires on Anthony Davis. I can tell you this for a fact. A few months ago, Giannis wanted to be traded. His first choice, New York with the Knicks. Knicks wouldn't move off, would not offer more than just Karl Anthony Towns. And it just wasn't going to work with the Milwaukee Bucks if they were going to give up Giannis Antetokounmpo. I can tell you that the Lakers inquired, and Luka Doncic himself inquired, trying to see if the Lakers could work out a deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. One of the other things, now remember, Giannis wants to leave because he wants to win. He's going to be 31 this month. He wants a chance at another championship. He does not want to go to a franchise that is going to gut themselves to get him and his contract. So he does not want to go somewhere where he's the only guy that can score and average double digits and carry another team. If that's the case, he may as well stay in Milwaukee. So he wants to go to a situation in which he can win. I think the Knicks are still a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised if the wheels came off at some point before the trade deadline, that New York got back into the trade mix. Don't count out Miami. He wants to go to a major market, and I will leave you with this. His wife and kids aren't in Milwaukee. They moved back to Greece. So he is by himself with his brothers in Milwaukee right now. So his allegiance to Milwaukee is no longer there. He wants to be in a situation where he can win. He wanted to come to Chicago. I'd love to see him in Chicago. You would love to see him in Chicago. But the Bulls would have to sit down and say, hey, listen, we're then prepared to break up our young core.
That's great information. It's terrific insight and context. Bulls fans deserve a chance to take a shot. If he's available, they owe it to the fan base that has been extremely loyal through some difficult seasons and get a team and a roster that is more than just a guaranteed play-in team. I understand why he would want to play in New York, the allure of LA with LeBron and Luka, and certainly Miami makes sense. But you know what? If you come to the Bulls, I don't know how good they would be, but they would be a lot more relevant with him in a Bulls uniform.
What would the Bulls give up? What would the Bulls have to, obviously Kobe White.
Kobe White would be a good start. I think Patrick Williams would be involved in any trade. You would have a collection of draft picks, maybe as many as 2 or 3 first-rounders. They have Portland's first-round protected 14, I believe. So you could put together a package that might be competitive with other teams. Now, would Giannis want to move south to Chicago for a team that he doesn't necessarily view as one with championship aspirations or credentials? That's something only he can answer.
All right, we need to take a time. Hey, man. Thanks for
Thanks for
stopping
asking me. Yeah.
CHSN's David Haw, listen to him every morning on The Score as well. We need to take a timeout. You're watching CST Daily here on Fox. Back to CST Daily, Luke Canellis with you. College football playoff standings has schools and fans on pins and needles going into this weekend of conference championship action. Here to help us figure it all out, old partner of mine here on Fox 32 Chicago, former Illini star, former Denver Bronco, Howard Griffith from the Big Ten Network. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Lou. How about you?
I'm great. I'm excited. Bears are winning, and it is a big week in college football. I appreciate you taking the time. Is this what college football wanted, buddy, when they expanded the playoff field? I thought we were getting away from all this controversy.
Well, I think the controversy is ultimately always going to be there, whether it's 12 teams, 24. Listen, the NCAA and hoops can't get it right with all the teams that they have, right? So I think at its core, I think one of the great things it's been able to do is it took the football game and made it national once again, because I think it had become too regionalized with the 4 teams. But now you still have so many conferences in position that believe that they should have an opportunity to be in a 12-team field, that it has just been great, I think, for college football, for the fans, for the teams, and I really love this part of the year.
That's such a great point. All right, I want to get into the Big Ten Championship first. This Saturday, right here on Fox 32 Chicago, beginning at 5:30, Big Ten Championship. Other than the Hoosiers themselves and their fans, Howard, does anyone think Indiana can beat Ohio State?
I think it's tough. I think there are a few people out there that believe it, because one of the things that you watch this Indiana team do for the last 2 years, probably one of the greatest stories in college athletics going for the last 2 years, is they never play down to their competition, no matter who it is. They go out and dominate whoever their opponent is that particular week. Now, that doesn't mean that they're just going to play a perfect game, and they had some struggles here and there that they've had to fight back and come up with wins. But this is a team that's always playing at a high level. But when you think about Ohio State and just how loaded they are and the job that Matt Patricia has done with that defense, I describe their defense this way, Lewis. It's not really about a scheme. It's really about a pro style of defense that really tries to dictate the pace of the game through the defenses. Normally you see it from an offensive side of the ball, but now you see a defense with just so many stars and so many potential first-round draft picks on that side of the ball that they really create problems for a lot of people.
Howard, help me understand this. Notre Dame goes out, wipes out Stanford by, 4 touchdowns, and the Irish fall from 9th to 10th. Alabama needs to hold on against 5-win Auburn.
Yeah.
I get it. It was on the road. I get it. It's a great rivalry. And somehow they move up from 10 to 9. Is that the power of the SEC?
I think that has a little bit to do with it, but there's some football people in the room, and they're looking at exactly where teams are playing. The downside for where Notre Dame is right now is that they're not playing anymore. So you don't get another opportunity to see a body of work and just how talented they are. Now, to this point, they have dominated teams in the second half of the season and just destroyed people, run them off the field, and really done a great job there. So do I believe that they're one of the best 12 teams and should be in the playoffs? I absolutely do. But I think the playoffs need to continue to be tweaked a little bit, because some of the automatic bids sometimes, I don't know if it's necessarily the right thing to do. I understand you want to give everybody an opportunity to make the 12-team playoff, but I think ultimately you need to be able to pick the 12 best teams in all of college football, regardless of division, to make sure that you have the best teams that are competing for a national title.
All right, I want to keep it right here because you've seen far more college football than I have this season. If Texas Tech wins, as expected, that would presumably knock the Cougars, the BYU Cougars, down in the rankings amongst other 2-loss teams. And if we look at the way the committee's really stacked the other 2-loss teams recently, this means Notre Dame and Miami are fighting for that final spot. Who gets it?
And that's going to be fascinating, right? Obviously, if you're a Miami fan, you're going head-to-head. What happened? If you're a Notre Dame fan, look at our body of work since then. We have gotten so much better. This is going to be a very interesting conversation that's going to happen in the committee room if it comes down to that. because this is not something that they really, I think, ultimately want to deal with. They want things to be really cut and dry, and they won't be if they decide to leave Notre Dame out or put Notre Dame in when they lost the head-to-head to Miami and lost the way they did.
A guy that you and I both know well, Pat Fitzgerald, on his 51st birthday, Fitz was introduced as the new head coach at Michigan State. Man, this is a great hire for the Spartans, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an outstanding hire. You think about what Pat Fitzgerald has done up to this point. Now, you also have to take into account of what happened the last couple of years. He was, I think, 4-20, but he still has been at Northwestern. And sometimes it can run his path. That happens sometimes. But I think he's an outstanding coach. This is going to be really new territory for him because now he's having to get involved in NIL, something he didn't have to deal with. He has to deal with the transfer portal, something he didn't have to deal with the last time he was coaching. So there are a lot of new things in coaching that he's going to have to get up to speed with. But that's one of I think the great things about college athletics now. When you look at the benches, particularly if it's basketball season now, you see how many assistants are on the benches to really help the program move forward. This is the same thing that's happening in football.
All right, let me give you a wrap-up, buddy, because you touched on it. Early signing period today, it started. Should college football move the early signing period back, eliminate it in favor of the traditional February date, or should they just keep the current system intact?
Yeah, Lou. What's interesting about this is what the coaches wanted. So, and it is an absolute disaster right now. You think about this. If you're playing at Mount Carmel High School, you're playing for a state championship today, right? And you have to commit today. You're committing today as well. So there are a lot of things that this calendar has out of whack, and I think they really need to reevaluate it and move it back. Everything needs to be moved back and understand, are you putting your student athletes in a bad position and your potential student athletes? Because, you just look at Penn State, look at even Michigan State. There's situations where coaches aren't in place. And, student athletes are like, well, I'm going to have to hold off and wait whether or not I can sign right now because I don't know what this institution is going to look like or who's going to be running the program. And listen, Lou, there's that, us older guys sometimes say, well, you're not going for the coach. Those days are gone. Those days are gone. They are going for the coaches right now. And there's a lot of money at stake. And yes, they're going to get a free education. But let's be real. We've gotten really, really close to professional sports right now, so that we need to try to handle it that way, and we need to put everyone in the best position where they can go out and put the best foot forward. And right now, the college calendar does not allow the student athlete or the institutions to really be able to do that.
Howard, I love it. You always keep it real here on the air and on the Big Ten Network as well. I know you and Dave Revsvin are super busy this week. Please say hello to Dave, and I hope I can call you in the future to get you back on. All right, buddy?
Absolutely. Appreciate it, buddy. Take care. Stay safe.
Big Ten Network's Howard Griffith, nice enough to join us here, covering a wide range of topics on college football with the conference championships this weekend, including the Big Ten championship between Indiana and Ohio State, right here on Fox 32 Chicago. Our coverage starts at 5:30 on Saturday. We're right back after this on CST. David Hahn, Howard Griffith for joining us today, and a big show coming up tomorrow as we continue to count down to that Packers game on Sunday. We'll go to Wisconsin, talk with Packers reporter Tim Van Voren. Plus, Bears will be back on the practice field. Cassie Carlson will join us from Hallis Hall. And as we get closer to the football weekend, we check in with Nick Kostos of BetMGM, and you bet to get some of the best plays, which includes the Bears and, yes, the Big Ten championship between Ohio State and Indiana. Have a good night. See ya.